I never imagined that my golden years would look like this. Betrayed, humiliated, and cast out of my own home by my own daughter. You raise a child, you give them everything. You sacrifice your health, your dreams, and even your peace. And one day that same child looks you in the eye and tells you, this isn't your house anymore. That's exactly what happened to me. It started with what I thought was a simple, kind-hearted gesture. I had a big house, too big for just me after my wife passed away, and I wanted my daughter and her family to be comfortable. But little did I know, opening my doors to them would mean losing everything I worked my whole life for. And when I say everything, I mean everything. But before I tell you how they betrayed me and how I took it all back, you need to understand how it all started. My name's Chris. I'm 67 years old, retired with a lifetime of memories and more regrets than I'd like to admit. My wife Hannah and I bought our house 35 years ago. It wasn't anything fancy back then, just a modest two-story suburban home. But it was ours. I poured my blood and sweat into that place. Every nail, every coat of paint, every garden bed out front. Hannah passed away 3 years ago. Cancer. It took her so fast, I still feel like I wake up some days expecting to see her in the kitchen making coffee. Losing her broke me in ways I can't explain. My daughter Sophia was my only child, and for a while she was my anchor. She'd visit often, bring me groceries, sometimes just sit with me and watch old movies. I thought, she really cares. She hasn't forgotten about her old man. Sophia married a man named Craig about 8 years ago. I never really liked him. He always had this smug, know-it-all attitude. He talked big about his business ventures, but as far as I could tell, he just drifted from one failed project to another. Still, Sophia loved him, and for her sake, I tried to tolerate him. When their first child was born, my granddaughter Lily, I was over the moon. Finally, some joy in my life again. One crisp autumn afternoon, Sophia arrived at my doorstep with Craig, both of them radiating an energy that brightened the room. They settled down with steaming mugs of coffee, and with a sparkle in her eye, Sophia leaned in closer. Dad, Craig and I have been talking. We're really outgrowing our little apartment. It feels like we're living in a shoebox, and with Lily getting bigger every day, we're craving more space to breathe and grow. I nodded, settling back into my chair as the warmth of nostalgia washed over me. That makes sense, but you know how steep house prices are these days. Craig leaned forward, grin wide and infectious. Exactly. That's why we thought, maybe we could move in here just temporarily. This way we can save up for our own place. A tension prickled in my chest. I cherished my serene life, my predictable routines. But this was Sophia, my only daughter. Little Lily deserved a backyard to run and play in, not a cramped apartment. Of course, I replied after a brief pause, my voice steadier than I felt. Your family. You're always welcome here. Little did I know, in that moment, I had unknowingly severed the threads of my own tranquility. The first few months passed in a whirlwind of laughter and chaos, joyful noise filling the once quiet corners of my home. Having a toddler racing around again brought on an exhilarating exhaustion. The delightful chaos felt oddly comforting. Yet with time, subtle changes began to taint the harmony. Craig started dragging in furniture I couldn't stand, cheap, clunky items that clashed violently with the elegant pieces Hannah and I had handpicked together. He began rearranging living spaces without a word of consent, as if the house were his own. Sophia started to act like the house belonged to her. She made decisions without consulting me, turned the living room into a space for her social gatherings, and spent money like it grew on trees. I kept telling myself it was just a temporary arrangement. They would save up and move out soon. But then, about 6 months after their arrival, Sophia dropped a bombshell during dinner. Dad, we've been thinking this arrangement really works for us. It's good for Lily, too. So, we're not in a hurry to move out. A frown crossed my face. Sophia, that wasn't the deal. You said this was just temporary. Craig jumped in, his voice thick with mockery. Come on, Chris, you've got this huge empty house. We're just making it feel like home again. Making it feel like home. It was already a home, my home. As the months rolled by, my sanctuary morphed into something unrecognizable. Craig renovated the garage into a gym, cluttering it with his equipment. Sophia transformed my cozy study into a vibrant playroom for Lily, all without so much as a by your leave. And then came the most crushing revelation. One evening, as I sat watching the flickering images on the television, Sophia approached me, her voice dripping with that falsely sweet tone that had begun to annoy me. Dad, we talked to a lawyer. It would make sense for us to transfer the house into our names. Just in case anything happens to you, you know? It'll be safer for Lily's future. My heart plummeted, a chill creeping in. Sophia, I said slowly, each word weighted with disbelief. This is my house. Your mother and I bought it, and it's all I have left of her. She crossed her arms, her expression unyielding. Stop being so dramatic, Dad. It's not like we're kicking you out. You can still live here. It just makes sense legally. Craig piped up. It's called estate planning, Chris. You should be grateful I'm thinking ahead for the family. I seethed, a tempest of anger welling inside me. But Sophia was my daughter, and the thought of pushing her away terrified me. So I relented, blindly signing the papers that would tether me to their whims. 2 months later, I uncovered the chilling truth. They hadn't merely claimed the house for estate planning. Craig had taken out a staggering loan against it, hundreds of thousands of dollars. My sanctuary, my safety net, had become collateral for his reckless business venture. When I confronted Sophia, I was met with a cold indifference. Dad, just calm down. Craig knows what he's doing. Knows what he's doing? He's gambling away my home. Craig stormed in, his face a mask of fury. Don't talk to my wife like that. This is our house now. You don't get to dictate what happens here. Our house. That was the moment reality hit me. I wasn't just a guest in my own home. I was a burden. That night I sat in my car, shaking with anger. I thought about Hannah, about all the years I'd worked myself to the bone for that house, and now these two leeches had stolen it from me. But I wasn't going to let them win. I contacted an old friend of mine, a lawyer. I told him everything. Turns out Craig had made a big mistake. The transfer papers weren't airtight, and because of the way the loan was filed, there were legal loopholes, ones that worked in my favor. It took months of planning, quietly gathering documents, playing the obedient old man while secretly preparing my move. Then one Friday morning, I made my play. When Sophia and Craig returned home that evening, they were greeted by a notice firmly taped to the front door. They were being evicted by me. The shock on Craig's face as he grasped the reality of the situation was priceless. Sophia erupted into a furious tirade, hurling every insult imaginable. Yet the court stood firmly on my side. Not only did I regain ownership of my house, but the verdict also stipulated that Craig was held personally responsible for the fraudulent loan. I watched as they were escorted out just days later. For the first time in what felt like an eternity, I breathed deeply, feeling a profound freedom swell within me. Do I miss my daughter? Yes, I do. I miss the little girl who would sit on my lap, her eyes wide with admiration, declaring me her hero. But the woman she has become, the one who so easily betrays for money, I no longer recognize her. Now it's just me in this space again. The house that Hannah and I built together stands proudly around me, and I'll be damned if I ever let anyone take it away from me again. Subscribe if you enjoyed the story, and drop your thoughts in the comments. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next one.